middle road. Now, you can choose sides if you so desire, but if you're the chairman in office of the OSCE, you're not in the business of choosing sides. You're in the business of trying to find some kind of a solution. I've given 3 or 4 statements in this line. I've given numerous international and otherwise interviews on the issue. And if someone wants to make a conflict assessment and a conflict analysis of how it all started at a later stage, then do it. But it is not the job of the EU chairman, France, or the OSCE chairman, Finland, to do that at this stage.
As far as the question addressed to me is concerned, you see, in the world there are quite a lot of states suffering conflicts in their territories, and when those conflicts have been recognized as such by the international community, then the rights of the relevant state are restricted, are limited significantly. We'll see Cyprus. Who is putting and questioning the territorial integrity of Cyprus de jure? But what is happening de facto is well known to you. By the way, no particular initiatives on behalf of the EU or anybody else to solve this issue. The sooner we cannot see, though we support the UN stand on this settlement. Therefore, the question about the territorial integrity of Georgia, this is up to decide by the Georgian leadership, and we, including at the top level in Russia, have said so to Mr. Saakashvili, and we hope that he does understand what is going on, but judging by all accounts he does not. And his barbaric and brutal action in South Ossetia has undermined the trust towards the Georgian state, and was another proof for the Abkhazian and Georgian people that they will not find themselves in safety being part of Georgia. This is an absolute fact, and the wounds that he has made are still there. South Ossetians had hardly recovered from the previous troubles, and these recent wounds will take long time to treat. We have to be guided by some basic principles. The first one is to respect people who live in the territory of a state, and to restore trust and confidence, whereas we do not feel any confidence for President Saakashvili, and we believe that nobody in South Ossetia have this confidence either. Arabica, question to Minister Lavrov. Yesterday, Sergei Ivanov, Russian Vice Prime Minister, said that we will have to speak about a tripartite agreement. Georgia, South Ossetia and Abkhazia, this agreement about non-application of force. We've seen the English translation of this information given by CNN with their comments. This is the way it was put. What is the stand of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about this possible tripartite agreement? We always speak about the need to conclude an agreement on non-use of force, both with regards to Abkhazia and South Ossetia. We still stick to this position. As to the way we're going to do it, it's up to our diplomats to decide this. But the fact is that we have to get guarantees from Georgia of non-application of force to South Ossetia. This is undoubtful to us. One more question. My name is Natarova Yulia. My question goes to Minister Lavrov. Today, there are quite intense consultations being held in Moscow. First, I would like to hear what Russia wants specifically to achieve in this situation in order to ensure peace at the soonest possible date. What do you expect from your European partners? what do you expect from today's consultations? And secondly, you've spoken a lot about the U.S. role in the region. What would you get from the U.S.? We've been hearing a lot from President Bush about this, but what would be opportune and timely and adequate for Russia as of today? Well, by and large, all those recent days we've been doing one and the same thing: preventing aggression, stopping aggression and saving life. This work will still take some time. Humanitarian aid will have to be provided to South Ossetia, to its population. We'll need to rebuild houses. Alex just said that in Gora he saw a couple of residential buildings destroyed. In Tshinvali there are no residential buildings that have survived the bombings, and the work to restore this town will take a lot of time. It will have to spend a lot of effort to ensure that population can return. Russia has already allocated 500 million rubles for these purposes. $10 billion will be allocated. $10 million will be allocated at a later stage, and we will be participating in this work, and we'll be inviting everybody willing to participate in this work in order to help those people who are suffering because of the reckless action taken by the Georgian leadership. As to what could be done by our partners at this stage, we appreciate the sincere interest shown by the French partners and by Alex Stubb as the OSCE incumbent president. I'm sure that for the OSCE, the organization that had its mission in Tshinvali will also have a role to play, and most importantly, at this stage, all those who have any influence on Tbilisi should, in our opinion, send a very strong message that Georgian troops should be withdrawn from any parts where they can pose any danger to South Ossetia. This is the first task. Then we will talk about the agreement on non-application of force, and I've already thanked Alex Stubb for taking this particular point. The commitment not to use force be worked out thoroughly during the trip to Georgia by Minister Stubb and Minister Kushner, and they have obtained a promise from Tbilisi that they will do it. Thank you very much. We're going to finish our press conference because our ministers are expected at another event. Thank you.
You've just joined us here on BBC World News. You've been live with the press conference there in Moscow with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Alexander Stubb, who's the Finnish Foreign Minister but also chair of the OSCE, which is trying to bring an end to this conflict in the Caucasus, the conflict in Georgia's breakaway regions of South Ossetia and Abkhazia, which, as I speak, I have to say, seems to be broadening and worsening. The Russians are saying there that their objective is to restore peace, but then saying Russia will not want to talk with the Georgian President, Mikhail Saakashvili. He must stand down, Sergei Lavrov said. Though he said, we're not actively trying to overthrow Mikhail Saakashvili, but the situation would improve if he left, he said. He spoke of the reckless actions of the Georgian President against the people of South Ossetia. Mr. Lavrov also said, we warned the West not to arm Georgia. The West must rethink its policy on Georgia. Alexander Stubb, on behalf of the OSCE, said, we are not choosing sides here. The OSCE is not choosing sides. It is seeking an immediate ceasefire, access for humanitarian relief, a commitment not to use force and refrain from aggressive rhetoric, and seeking a long-term solution. He said, we're engaged in frantic diplomatic efforts. I don't know how many times I've been on the phone with Condoleezza Rice, the US Secretary of State. Just to add to that, Russia responded that it cannot agree with any OSCE peace plan that includes Georgian troops in South Ossetia or Abkhazia. We can go live to Moscow. Our correspondent James Rogers is there. James, how do you read it from there?
Mike, this is a very strong restatement of Russia's position, which really, I suppose, puts a question mark over the possible progress of any diplomatic initiative that may be discussed between the French President Nicolas Sarkozy